part of my row across the Atlantic Ocean was an emotional roller coaster of note. In this episode, the final of 3 episodes, you will see amazing encounters that I have with fish and with birds, and I actually come across 1 or 2 other rowing boats that are taking part in the same race. Spirit of Montenegro and No Fear, the boat that we had such an epic battle with in the first row across the Atlantic Ocean. This is the last episode. My name is Peter van Kets. Welcome back to my channel. I couldn't do anything. I'm going to try and do some cooking today. 3 more days of this. Hectic. This little bird flew onto my boat this morning. It's obviously seeking refuge from the storm. It's very, very weak. I named him Simon, as in Paul Simon. The song Homeless. He was homeless and needing shelter, and on the 3rd night of the storm he started to peck on the cabin's hatch. So I took it that he wanted to go. I put him on the boat's gunwale and turned around to get my camera to film him leaving. And as I turned back with the camera, he was gone. It was hard to explain how that made me feel. All of a sudden, the bird was gone, and it was like there was no life left on the boat. It was quite a sad moment for me. During the storm, whenever I went outside to check on how the boat was faring in the storm, I'd just look over the side of the boat and just to see if the Smith family Dorado was still there. And yep, they were there and didn't look like they were going anywhere. So it's really good to be stretching my legs again and stretching my arms. Being stuck up in that cabin for 5 days and 6 nights has been hell on earth. I have 1,618 nautical miles left to go. Almost halfway. So it's very exciting. During the 2007 and 8 race, I had such problems with pressure sores on my bottom. I knew that that was going to be quite a feature of my solo race, and I had made friends with 2 East London people, Nikki and Andres. They had a company called Kazakh Steel, which made natural soaps and creams, and they developed a cream which they called Pete's Bum Balm, and it was a barrier cream that would really help me with my pressure sores. It was actually like miracle cream. Just been visited by about a whole school of dolphins, and yes, they're beautiful there. Yes, it really can make a difference to your day, seeing such beautiful animals out here. Jeez.
It's pretty hot today, to say the least. There's Chris, just finished a shift. It's hot. Beach whale. It is, again, so quiet, so still. A breath of wind.
So here we are halfway through the race and things are still not working out. Been out here for 34 days now and all the hopes of breaking the records are shattered, they're gone. I just can't help feeling very frustrated and disappointed at the weather conditions really. It's just ridiculous. 12 miles a day. I've got about 1,500 miles left. 12 miles a day will make it 120 days from here. I know that's not being real, that's not realistic. I'm definitely going to get more wind than this. I mean, this is just ridiculous.
It's really, really testing. There's not a single sound. You can't even hear the breath of wind. And there's nothing to see except this sort of floating blanket.
There's a nice big rain squall coming. It's sunrise. Right now, it's quite a thick rain squall. We should be able to get quite a good shower in with that. I've just woken up from a shift and Spirit of Montenegro has just radioed me. I've caught up to them. They're a pairs boat and we are both exactly 1,200 nautical miles to go, and we've decided that we're gonna meet up with each other and say how's it and have some tea and share a few jokes. Yeah, I'm just plodding along. What shifts are you guys doing?
Mixture. ship and it's when the wind picks up, we just do 2 hours on, 2 hours off.
Okay. Yeah, what I do is I've got 4 3-hour shifts, and then I sleep from 12 to 6. Yeah, just so that my body can recover, you know. How fantastic was it to see new faces and, well, just a human being. Today exactly, it's been 7 weeks, so it's been a long time to be alone, and it's very good seeing new faces. Well, new faces, just their face. You like my head here. It's just so that the sun doesn't come in, man. Yes, in the mornings the sun comes in from the side and really hammers me, so I have to put quite a lot of suntan cream on. 1001, we're just about to click over to 1000. That's 2/3 of the way done, and now it's just another chip and a putt and we're there. The Dorados had definitely made my boat their new home. They were still with me even after the storm, and it didn't matter how fast I rode or how slow I went. They just stayed with me and used my boat as a refuge place and a place to hunt from. The friendship was definitely blossoming. Sunrise on day 56, and we have a boat next to us again. I mean, it's just a miracle, unbelievable stuff. This is No Fear coming up. We're just about to have a nice conversation, nice chat with each other. So looking forward to that very much. This is the boat that gave us so much trouble in the 2007 race with Bull that I did with Bull. This is No Fear, and they came second behind us by 25 miles. Sometimes I sit here and I think if it'll ever end. I've got 855 miles to go. I've been sitting in the 800s for about 10 days now. I should have been sitting in the 300s. Anyway, that's how it goes. Now it's all about Nyamezela. It's about perseverance.
It's quite nice when it gets like this sometimes, but this is just obscene heat and lack of breeze. Everything is just horrible. If you look around, barely a cloud in the sky. Absolutely roasting.
It was beginning to get really tough. It was much harder than I'd ever anticipated, and infinitely harder than the 2007 and 8 rowing race. I never felt like giving up, not ever for 1 second, but there were many times that I thought the Atlantic was never going to spit me out. Charlie Pitcher had finished his race today and had won the entire race, beating all the pairs and the fours. He had put on a brilliant campaign and he was a deserved winner of the race. It was times like these when I would continuously think of all the thousands of people that were supporting me through my website, Facebook, and all the people that had put so much effort into preparing me for these moments. I had to really focus on the small things and get them right. I remembered Sean, who was 1,000 nautical miles behind me, and I couldn't help but feel sorry for him. At least I was 1,000 nautical miles closer to the finish line than he was, the poor guy. And then just little things would perk me up, like rescuing this fish from the crate. Decided to come back because I would like to give this little fish a bit of a rescue. Let's see if I can get it together. So I jumped in the water to turn the crate over, and as soon as I looked around and saw this huge marlin. It was probably hunting my Smith family of Dorados. There was no way as I was hanging around, so I clambered back on board. Quite a grey morning today. Very little wind. What's unusual about that? And lots of rain squalls around today. Not heavy wind, but I suspect underneath that there's quite a bit of wind.
Well, it's Thursday today, so we've got maybe another 7-8 days. Fingers crossed we're there. Although we haven't got that much food, it looks like we're going to be on the protein shakes for a few days, but we're big boys, we can deal with that, I'm sure.
Yes, the wind is pumping outside, pumping southeast. When I finished my shift now after the row, I set the rudder in such a position that I just go in a straight line straight for Antigua. It's great. First time that's happened on this trip. Everything's been against me so far. I mean, the wind's against me now. I wish it was going in the right direction. But there's a current pushing me south, and the wind's from the south, so they both equalize out, and I'm going straight for Antigua. Roll on, Antigua! 500 miles to go! Yoo-hoo! That's not far, it's just a chip and a putt. Okay, maybe 2 putts, maybe 2 chips. It was such a roller coaster ride of emotions. I would get these great weather reports which showed that I'd get to the finish line quickly, and then everything would change, and I would go from extreme elation to extreme despondency. It's hard to put into words how I'm feeling right now. I'm 420 kilometers from the finish. Every time the weather forecast has been for east wind, it doesn't come about. I get so happy and worked up because I've been battling so hard against this ocean that I get so jubilant when I hear that there's going to be an east wind, and I know that I shouldn't, but you know, when you've got 4 or 5 different sources telling you that the east wind's coming, you've got to think that that's right. And every single time, I promise you, it's been the opposite. That's what my cabin looks like inside. Some of the electronic equipment. There are messages from Kim and some photographs. Kim and Hannah, and they're very nice. That's my little daughter Hannah. Some more photographs. Some important telephone numbers. My superhero.
10 miles, mate, of an epic voyage. It's been a hell of a trip, eh?
It has. Here we are.
And there's the prize. What a feeling.
Once again, absolutely just blown away by the incredible isolation. Like, it's you know it in your head, and I know it from last time, but you just don't understand that feeling of being completely and absolutely surrounded by water, and you just can't see anything else. It was so incredibly emotional to just see him in that tiny little boat and just see that he's okay, and like he's really thin and really hairy. Just so awesome that he's finishing with these awesome conditions. I mean, he's just flying for the, you know, it's been such a battle all along, and he's just flying now.
I'd say this is sunset. My last night out at sea for this trip. Very exciting to be in. I've got 44 miles to go, which means I'll be in sometime tomorrow. Kim and Moose have just come to visit me in the helicopter, done some filming. Almost there. Just a chip and a putt. Yeehaw! Hey! It's hard to describe what it was like rowing those last 50 miles. I'd had no sleep for 48 hours. At times I would just weep thinking about my girls, what it would be like holding them, about the peoples whose lives had changed for the good forever by what I had done. I wept thinking about the messages some of these people had sent me during my journey, and how my motivating them had helped me get through my tough times. And then there were times that I just laughed and laughed when I thought of what I had been through, how I'd made friends with Dorado fish and birds, how I thought the Atlantic would never spit me out. I was excited that my race campaign had been such a success, and that all my work my team and friends had put into it had been justified. And at one stage during that evening, I stopped rowing, and I remembered reversing out of my driveway on the way to the airport and saying to Kim that the next time I drive back in, there'd be a story to tell. That story was done, and I got off my rowing seat and I got onto my knees, and I thank God for keeping me.
If he rows non-stop for 24 hours, he's going to do like
9 o'clock tomorrow morning, which is saying, at that pace. If he goes 2.5, that's what, 12 o'clock. They want to meet him on the boats and footage out there too, he says.
oh man.
The Dorados had been with me all evening, shining bright with the phosphorus that was in the water. I wanted to say goodbye to them, so I jumped into the water at about 6 in the morning, and I was sad to say my goodbyes. Thanks for coming! It was so weird to think that I had no more 3-hour shifts to row, that I did not have to eat any more freeze-dried food, and that I could take a bath and stretch, and that I could just speak to people whenever I wanted. The support that I got from the South African community was phenomenal, and only when I chatted to Kim did I really realize that I was never, ever, once, ever alone. So one of the questions that I'm asked most is, so Pete, what is your best expedition that you've been on? And it's such a difficult one to answer because there've been many. But this solo row across the Atlantic Ocean was epic. I learned so much about myself during this time. I learned about people. I learned about this incredible planet that we have. But most of all, the thing that it taught me the most is that we need to be passionate about what we do, and we need to learn how to persevere in life if we want to be successful. Next week, we're going to go from the sea, from the Atlantic Ocean, across to the Namib Desert, one of the true deserts of the world, the oldest desert in the world. And you're going to see how myself and photographer and fellow adventurer Jacques Marais and team conquer this desert on mountain bike. We look forward to seeing you there. If you like this channel, please subscribe. You'll get notifications of the next video. We will see you next week.